Okay, so this video is about the transformation called rotating. And we're going to talk about rotating clockwise and counterclockwise. All right, so given this point A right now in this coordinate plane, that point A is in the coordinate, it went over X, right? Went over X, then up Y. So the coordinate for A right now is at XY. So let's say A is at X, comma Y. Right. So when we rotate it clockwise being the direction of the clock, when I rotate it clockwise, let's look at the axis here, in here. So when I turn it, the X direction is here, and the Y direction is there, right? So if I look at this coordinate, that coordinate is to the right, so that direction is really the Y coordinate. If we really straighten it back up. And the X coordinate is going downward, so that's in the negative direction of Y. So that coordinate would be Y negative X. If I rotate it 90 degrees clockwise, 90 degrees is one turn, right? So one turn and one quadrant. So that's one turn of quadrant. That's 90 degrees clockwise. The coordinate is Y negative X. So this is Y negative X when it's 90 degrees clockwise. Y negative X. So if I turn, instead of being 90 degrees, I turn it twice. So I turn it once, that's 90 degrees. If I turn the second time, that's 180 degrees, right? So you're looking at this coordinate here. This is now the X direction, and this is now the Y direction. So the horizontal axis is X again, and that's the negative side of X. If you notice, that's the negative side because to the left of the origin. So now that coordinate will be the negative version of X, and the Y value is going beneath. So that'd be negative Y. So the coordinate, if I rotate it 180 degrees, the coordinate changes to be negative X, negative Y. So if I go clockwise, and I take A from its original place, X, Y, and I rotate it 180 degrees, it becomes negative X, comma, negative Y. That'd be the coordinate for it. And that's 180 degrees clockwise. All right, so just going back to that point again. You're going to rate, instead of it being 90, which would be here, and 180, which would be there, we're going to rotate it a third time, which is 270 degree turn. So let's look at the coordinates. Let's look at axes now. Here in the X direction is really the Y, coordinate for Y. So that's going to be in the negative side. So that would be negative Y, and the X is up high, so it's positive. Negative Y, positive X. So if I rotate it 180 degrees, 207 degrees clockwise, it winds up becoming negative Y, positive X, because that's the negative side, that's the positive side of those axes. So A was at X, Y. If I rotate it 207 degrees, it becomes negative Y, positive X. That's 270 degrees clockwise. All right, and the last one is 360 degrees. So if I started off with that quadrant, and I turned it 90, and then 180, and then 270, and then 360, it winds up being exactly where it is. So a 360 degree turn puts you right back where you are. So if A was at XY, and I turned it 360 degrees, the coordinate ends up back in the same place. So it's a 360 degree clockwise rotation. And again, all these are rotations. This is a clockwise rotation. Next, we're going to talk about is counterclockwise. All right, so in this video, we're talking about rotating an object counterclockwise. So counterclockwise would be the opposite direction of a clock. So if we look at this coordinate B, its coordinate would be XY, right? That's how it ordinarily would look. But keep in mind how X and Y is going to change as we rotate it. Let's say if I want to rotate it 90 degrees, right? 90 degrees is one quadrant over. So if I rotate that 90 degrees, the horizontal direction, which ordinarily would be x, is now y. So it's in the negative direction. So if I rotate it 90 degrees, it's going to now be negative y because it's to the left, and the x portion is above, and it's positive because it's up. So to rotate 90 degrees means the new coordinate would be negative yx. That would be the new coordinate of the new point. That would be b. So let's write that down someplace. So if I rotate 90 degrees counterclockwise, the new coordinate would be negative y, positive x. That's 90 degrees counterclockwise. All right, so look at that point again. Instead of just going 90 degrees, let's go 180 degrees. So that's one quadrant over, then a second quadrant over. So if we go 180 degrees, now the coordinate, if you notice, the x is on the left, so that would be now negative x, and the y portion is below because it's in quadrant 3 there, so that would be negative y. So 180 degrees counterclockwise, the new coordinate would be negative x, negative y. So let's write that down. So if I rotated point B 180 degrees counterclockwise, the new coordinate is negative x, negative y. That's 180 degrees counterclockwise. And we usually write that CCW, counterclockwise. All right, so let's start with B again. Now instead of rotating 90 or 180, we can go 270. So that's 3 quadrants over. So that's 1 turn, 2 turns, and 3 turns. Let's look at the coordinate. So at this coordinate, the horizontal direction is y, and it's on the positive side. So it's a positive y. And the x value is beneath. So that's a negative x. So if I rotate it at 207 degrees, the new coordinate will wind up being positive y, negative x. So let's write that down. So if you rotate B 207 degrees, it winds up becoming positive y, negative x. And that's 207 degrees counterclockwise. If you rotate it 360, you go back to the same place. So 360 doesn't change, it's still xy. But those are the 3 formulas for counterclockwise rotation. I'll copy that down someplace and have that as a note. So those are the 3 formulas for counterclockwise rotation.